Dear members of the Sanghas and Yogis, we all are here to reap the benefits of the Dhamma. Satipatthana, foundations of mindfulness or Vipassanā meditation, was first introduced by the Buddha. It is a practice aimed firstly at the establishing and developing of mindfulness. This Vipassana practice is most crucial for us to be liberated from samsara, the rounds of suffering. When mindfulness is firmly established through the practice of Satipatthana, it serves as a powerful tool for the investigations of mind-body process, uncovering their conditioned nature as impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self nature. Sato bhikkhu bhikkhu sambhajano vihareya yamvo amaka anusasani. Yogis should dwell mindfully and fully comprehending. It is a repeated instruction for our sake from the Buddha. Inspire yourself by reflecting. You are going to practice Vipassana that can lead you to be free from all suffering. Take the postures that is most comfortable for you, preferably the cross-legged position. Keep your back straight. That means not leaning forward or backward. Your back should be comfortably straight, so do not make it rigid or tense. Just be relaxed. Breathe normally. Do not try to control the breath in order to make it longer, shorter, or deeper. Let each breath go as naturally as possible. Keep your mind on the abdomen. When you breathe in, the abdomen rises. Be mindful of the rising movement from the beginning to the end. Pay close attention so that you are fully aware of the movement. When the abdomen falls, when you breathe out, be mindful of the falling movement from the beginning to the end. You may mentally note rising when the abdomen is rising, falling when it is falling. But if making mental notes interfere with your practice, you don't have to make them. Just be mindful of the rising and falling movements of the abdomen. You may feel tension or pressure in the abdomen. You may concentrate on it. The emphasis is to be mindful of the movements rather than the abdomen shape or form. Keep on noting rising, falling, rising, falling. If your mind can remain on rise and fall of the abdomen, it would be very good. But mind has a tendency to wander quite often. When you are keeping your mind on the abdomen, be careful if the mind wanders. Do not blame yourself or do not feel guilty. Just be mindful of its going out, or mentally note as going out, going out, or wandering. When you note sincerely, wandering mind disappear. Then go back to movements of the abdomen. We call the movements of the abdomen home object or primary object because we always go back to them after paying attention to any other object that becomes prominent at the present moment. If you see something in your thoughts, be mindful of seeing, or make mental notes as seeing until that object disappears. Then go back to your home object, rise and fall. If you hear something in your thoughts, be mindful of hearing. Now you are hearing the noise. Keep your mind inside the ear. Be mindful of hearing and make mental notes as hearing until the noise disappears. Then go back to your home object. If you remember something from the past, be mindful of remembering. If you think of the future, be mindful of thinking of the future. Or if you make plans for the future, be mindful of making plans. Buddha said, do not let the past come back to you. Do not long for future. And do not clean the present. So when you are practicing Vipassanā, try to be in the present moment. Try to live in the present moment and try to be mindful of the object that is prominent at the present moment. Noting the object of the present moment is the most important, so try not to miss being mindful of it. But if you miss it or forget to note it, and later remember that you miss it, be mindful of that missing or forgetting. Make mental notes as missing or forgetting, before going back to your home object, rise and fall. If you speculate on something, be mindful of speculating. If you are analyzing, be mindful of analyzing. And if you make judgment, be mindful of making judgment. When you practice Vipassanā, pay attention to the object as it is without adding anything of your own. It should be a simple awareness or mindfulness of object, a simple but intense awareness. If you pay attention to the object as it is, you can capture the reality. Whatever you do with mindfulness. Whatever mental state arises in your mind, be mindful of that mental state. If there are thoughts of attachment, craving or desire, be mindful of them. Do not feel guilty, but just be mindful of them and make mental notes of them as attachment, or desire. If you note faithfully, it disappears. Then go back to your home object. If you are upset or angry for any reason, be mindful of being upset or angry, or make mental notes as upset or angry. You can take the anger itself as the object of your attention. In that case, concentrate on the mental state that is anger. Be mindful of it or mentally note anger. Mindfulness take over, so anger disappears. Then return to your home object. If you are discouraged, make this discouragement the object of your attention. Be mindful of it or make mental notes as discouraged. It disappears, go back to your home object. If you feel happy, you have to note happy. If you feel bored, notice bored. If you reflect, notice reflecting. If you imagine, notice imagine. If you think, notice thinking. If you plan, planning. If you perceive, perceiving. If you feel glad, glad. If you feel discouraged, discouraged. Noting all these acts of consciousness is called Vipassanā, contemplation of the mind, contemplation of the mind. Because we fail to note these acts of consciousness, we tend to identify them with a person or individual. We tend to think that it is I who is imagining, thinking, planning, or perceiving. We think that there is a person who from childhood onwards has been living and thinking. Actually, no such person exists. They are instead only these continuing and successive acts of consciousness. That is why we have to note these acts of consciousness and know them for what they are. That is why we have to note each and every act of consciousness as it arises. When so noted, it tends to disappear. Then we go back to noting the rising and falling of the domain. Whatever you do, however the small activities may be, do it with mindfulness. For example, if you need to swallow saliva, first be mindful. Be mindful that you can capture the intention to swallow, or make the mental notes, intention. And when you gather the saliva in your mouth, be mindful of gathering it. And when you swallow it down, be mindful of swallowing. Then go back to your home object. If you want to make any movement, first be mindful of the intention to move, and then make the movement slowly, one at a time, and with mindfulness. If you have an itching sensation somewhere in the body, concentrate on the place of the itching, be mindful of it, and make mental notes, itching, 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 until it disappears. When it disappears, go back to the home object. If itchiness does not disappear but becomes more intense, be patient with it, make mental notes of it as long as you can. But if you think you cannot bear it any longer and have to scratch, first be mindful of the intention to scratch. Then move your hands slowly and with mindfulness of the area of itching, making mental notes as stretching, stretching, stretching. When your finger touches the place, be mindful of touching. And when you scratch, be mindful of scratching. And when you move your hand back to its original place, be mindful of moving. When the hand touches the other hand, your leg or your knee, be mindful of touching and then go back to your home object. If you have pain in the body, treat it in the same way. Concentrate on it and be mindful of it, or make mental notes as pain, pain, pain. When pain goes away, go back to your home object. If pain does not go away but becomes more intense, be patient with it, try to be with it, and make mental notes of it as long as you can. But if you think you cannot take it any longer, you may make changes in postures. Before making changes, be mindful of the intention to change, or make the mental notes, intention, intention. Then make the changes slowly and with mindfulness one at a time. For example, if you want to stretch out your hand, first be mindful of the intention to stretch. Then stretch the hand slowly with mindfulness, or make mental notes as stretching, stretching, stretching. After you have made the changes, go back to your home object. There may be stiffness, numbness, heat or cold in the body. When you have any one of these sensations, treat it the same way. Concentrate on it and be mindful of it or make mental notes of it. It is important not to identify these sensations with yourself. Regard them as sensations apart from you, so you are like a spectator watching something happening at a distance. You know what is happening, but you are not involved in it. If you have pleasant sensation, be mindful of them also. Whatever the sensation, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, if it becomes prominent, you have to be mindful of it. When you have sat meditating for long, sensations of stiffness and heat will arise in your body. Yeah, these are to be noted carefully. Similarly, with sensation of pain and tiredness, all of these sensations are dukkha vedana, feeling of unsatisfactoriness, and noting them is vedana Vipassanā. If you fail to note these sensations, make you think, I am stiff, I am feeling hot, I am in pain, I was all right a moment ago, now I am uneasy with these unpleasant sensations. The identification of these sensations with the ego is mistaken. There are really no I involved, only a sensation of one new unpleasant sensation after another. It is just like a continuous sensation of new electrical impulses that light up electric lamps. Every time unpleasant contacts are encountered in the body, unpleasant sensations arise one after another. These sensations should be carefully and intently noted, whether they are sensations of stiffness or heat or of pain. In brief, be mindful of the object you have chosen as the home object of your meditation. Hear the rise and fall of the domain. Try to be with it as long as you can, but also pay attention to your thoughts, emotion, bodily sensation, and rise when they become prominent at the present moment. Let your mindfulness be precise in going concurrently with the present object. Sometimes the mind may wander when experience is gained in noting rising and falling, in noting the abdomen as rising. In your mind, you may be saying rising when the abdomen is falling. You may be saying falling when the abdomen is rising. So you should try to be precise. You should be saying rising when the abdomen is rising, falling when it is falling. So pay close attention and don't let your mind wander. You should focus on one object at a time. Our mind cannot take two or more objects at one time. If you try to make more than one at a time, you will become agitated and unable to concentrate. So take the object that is most prominent, be mindful of it, and then let it go. If you cannot decide which is most prominent, just take any one of them, be mindful of it, and let it go. What is most important in this meditation is to be mindful of the object arising at the present moment. That object may be the home object or the other objects. As long as you are mindful of it at the present moment, you are doing the right thing, you are practicing meditation. Mindfulness of other object is as much meditation as mindfulness of the home object. Objects may be different at different moments, but there always should be mindfulness. Mindfulness of this object or mindfulness of that object. and do not have expectation. Expectations are good when they motivate us to practice, but when we are engaged in the practice, they become obstacle to concentration and obstacle to our practice. Expectations are actually a mild form of greed, which is unwholesome. So do not expect to get results or do not expect to get enlightenment. Do not even expect to get concentration. Just leave them alone and be mindful of the object at the present moment. There will be many distractions during practice, but regard them as friends, not as enemies or intruders. Although they are not welcome, do not be irritated by them. Just accept them, be mindful of them, and let them go by themselves. Do not be tight in your mind or do not have worries or anxiety about not getting result or not getting concentration. Keep your mind free from these worries and anxiety and just be mindful of the object at the present moment. Yogi should be relaxed in both body and in mind. After practicing sitting, you practice walking meditation. In order to practice walking meditation, you must change from the sitting postures to the standing postures. Before getting up from the seat, be mindful of the intention to get up and say to yourself, intention, intention. Then get up slowly, keeping your mind on the whole of your body and concentrating on its upward movement. When you have stood up, be mindful of standing, and then practice walking meditation. To practice walking meditation, choose a path and walk back and forth on it. When practicing walking, you make steps. When making a step, first you lift your foot, then move it forward and put it down. Then sway your body a little to shift weight. While practicing walking meditation, try to be mindful of these movements. Your mind should be kept on the moving of the foot, so you don't have to worry about being mindful of the movements of the abdomen when you are practicing walking meditation. So keep your mind on the foot, then lift the foot. Be mindful of lifting. When you move it forward, be mindful of moving. And when you place it down, be mindful of placing. Pay close attention so that you are fully aware of these movements. After putting one foot down, sway your body slightly as you shift your weight. When you shift weight, be mindful of shifting, keeping your mind on the whole of your body. Then make the next step, be mindful of lifting, moving, placing, and shifting. You walk until you reach the end of the walking path. Stopping there, be mindful of stopping. When you have intention to turn, be mindful of that intention or make mental notes. Intention, intention. Then make the turn slowly with mindfulness or with the mental notes, turning, turning, turning. While walking, keep your eyes slightly open and fix on the path 3 or 4 feet ahead of you. Do not look here and there. If you do happen to look up, you must be mindful of the looking or seeing. Do not keep your eye closed, keeping them open a little and looking downward, pay close attention to the movements when you make the steps. In the beginning, you may start with mindfulness of just stepping. In this case, you can walk a little faster and make mental notes, stepping, stepping, stepping. When you have become comfortable with noting the stepping, you will have seen that a step is a compound of smaller movements, one of which is lifting the foot. Every time the foot is lifted, be mindful of lifting or make mental notes. as lifting, lifting, lifting. When the feet is comfortable, you may note another movement, such as moving the foot forward, lifting, moving, lifting, moving, and so on. When you are comfortable with noting those two stages, then you can add one more, placing the foot down, lifting, moving, placing, lifting, moving, placing, and so on. So pay close attention to these movements. In this way, you can adapt to the practice little by little. If you really pay close attention to these movements, you will find yourself slowing down automatically, but do not force yourself to slow down. Just pay close attention to the movement, and the slowing down will happen automatically. Then you pay close attention, you will notice many elements within the step. During this retreat, yogis should behave as if you are a weak person. People in normal health get up easily and quickly. Not so with feeble person who do so slowly and gently. The same is the case with people suffering from backache who rise gently to prevent their back hurt and cause pain. So meditators have to make their changes of postures gradually and gently. Only then mindfulness, concentration, and Vipassana insight knowledge will be developed. So begin with gentle and gradual movement. When rising, you must do so gently like a weak person. At the same time, noting as rising, rising. Not only this, although your eyes are sharp, you must behave as if you do not see. Similarly, the ear is good, you must behave as if you do not hear. While practicing meditation, the yogi's concern is only to note what you see and hear are not your concern. So whatever strange or striking thing you may see or hear, you must behave as if you do not see or you do not hear them, merely noting carefully your main object at the present moment. Walking meditation should be practiced when you are entering the meditation hall and when leaving the meditation hall and dining hall. And also you have to pay attention to the related activities such as opening the door, closing the door, taking off shoes and putting them back on. These activities must be done with mindfulness. Since you have to keep mindfulness always, you are also to be mindful when eating. It is very likely that you may lose mindfulness while eating, so pay close attention to the small activities involved. It's more involved than just the one act of eating food with the spoon. There's looking at the food, getting hold of the plates, spoons and forks, putting the food on the plate, placing the food on the spoon, bringing the food to the mouth, opening the mouth, the food touching your mouth, putting the food into the mouth, chewing the food, swallowing the food, and experiencing the taste. There are many activities involved. Be very patient. In the beginning, you will miss being mindful of many of them, but do not feel guilty. Try to be mindful of as many of the activities as you can. With practice, you will be able to be mindful of more and more of them. The purpose of eating with mindfulness is to keep your mindfulness intact and to avoid being distracted by other objects. In the same way, when you drink something, drink it with mindfulness. And if you have to do dishes, do them with mindfulness. According to late most venerable Master Sayadaw, the time a yogi rests is the time when he is asleep. During waking hours, you are expected to be practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness of the practice of meditation does not mean only when we are in the meditation hall. Wherever we are during retreat, we have to be practicing mindfulness always. Bathroom activities must be conducted with mindfulness. You go to bed with mindfulness and wake up with mindfulness, and practice begins with the first waking moments in the early morning. When you go to bed with mindfulness or making notes of the activities involved, such as lowering yourself down, lying down, feeling parts of the body touching the bed, placing your head on the pillow, and covering yourself with the blanket. When you have done all these things mindfulness and are finally settled in bed, resume watching the rise and fall of the abdomen. Let sleep come to you while you are practicing mindfulness. Do not worry that you will be unable to sleep if you are making notes while going to bed. When you are really tired, your body needs to sleep, then you will go to sleep. But you go to sleep with mindfulness. The next morning when you wake up, try to be mindful of the first moments of waking up. Then be mindful of getting up from the bed, going to the bathroom, and so on. During a retreat, always keep mindfulness with you, as your mindfulness will gain momentum. You develop mindfulness this way in order to gain concentration, and once you have concentration, you begin to see the Nama Rupa, mind and matter clearly. You begin to see the true nature of mind and matter, and also their arising and disappearing. So always there should be mindfulness. In order to avoid being unmindful, do nothing that would distract or disturb you or the other yogis. Talking is a distraction, so it is important to keep noble silence. Not talking unless it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, just remain silent. This is for your own sake, as well as for the other yogis and for the center. If you practice in this way, because the object of the present moment, the master of whatever arises in your mind, your concentration will become strong. And in time, you will be able to penetrate the true nature of mind-body process. When you keep on noting diligently, you will be able to note more and more of these happenings. In the beginning, as your mind wanders here and there, you will miss noting many things. But you should not be discouraged. Every beginner of meditation encounters the same difficulty. But as you become more practiced, you become aware of every act of mind wandering until eventually your mind does not wander anymore. Your mind then fixed firmly on the object of its attention, and your mindfulness becoming almost simultaneous with the object of its attention, such as rising and falling of the abdomen. The physical object and the mental noting are occurring as a pair. There is, in this occurrence, no person or individual involved. Only the physical object and the mental noting occurring as a pair. You will in time actually and personally experience these occurrences while noting rise and fall of the abdomen. You will come to distinguish the rising of the abdomen as physical phenomena and the mental noting as mental or psychical phenomena. So with every act of noting, you will come to know for yourself clearly that they are only this material quality, which is the object of awareness, the mental quality that makes a note of it. This discriminating knowledge is called Namarupa Prejitanyana. It is important to gain this knowledge correctly. This will be succeeded as you go on by the knowledge that distinguishes between the cause and effect. As you go on noting, you will see for yourself that what arises passes away after a short while. Ordinary people assume that both the material and mental phenomena go on lasting throughout the life, that is from youth to adulthood. In fact, that is not so. There is no phenomena that lasts forever. All phenomena arise and pass away so rapidly that they do not last even for the twinkling of an eye. You will come to know this for yourself as you go on noting. Yogi will then become convinced of the impermanency of such phenomena. When you go on noting, you will come to realize firmly that all these phenomena are impermanence, suffering, and no-self. Then you will be liberated. So we have to stop our discourse for today. By practicing Vipassanā meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, noting, rising, falling, sitting, standing, stretching, bending, seeing, hearing, smelling continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize their real peace in the very near future.